Hey Greg,
Hello.
what are short ends?
A short end is a partial roll of unexposed film stock left over during a motion picture production and kept for later use.
That's correct, my friend. It's also a place for us to chat about films, events, and other movie related topics we don't normally cover in our main episodes.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Welcome to this episode of Short Ends. I'm Andres Anglade, and I'm here with,
Greg Bellavia.
and today we're both going to talk about 5 films from 2025 we wanted to shout out and maybe encourage our listeners to check out if they haven't. I'm excited. I have no idea what Greg is going to talk about, and I feel like our lists are going to be extremely, almost dramatically different. But I think it's going to be fun for our listeners to kind of find out what our tastes are like. Although I feel like I'm a bit more mainstream than you.
If any of our films match up, I will pay each listener $1,000.
$3,000. That's a big commitment. That's a big commitment.
Guys, the world's a crazy place, and you take joy where you can find it. And I'll say, I thought 2025 was a great year for movies. I haven't been this excited in years and years and years, and I'm still catching up on Oscar stuff. So there's still stuff that I'm getting into. So what a great year for movies! I think there's a lot of stuff to spotlight, and I'm excited to dive in.
Same, same. There's so many movies. There's still a good amount I need to catch up on, and that's always a good problem to have. So,
Yes.
who knows? Maybe in a couple of months we'll have to change this list. But I think for now, these are some movies we just want to do especially highlight from 2025.
Absolutely. All right. Well, my first one is I'm a huge fan of the director Bi Gan, a Chinese director, kind of an art house darling. Their two previous films are streaming on Criterion right now, and I've been looking forward to their new film Resurrection for months. Their previous film, Long Day's Journey into Night, is one of my favorite theatrical experiences of all time. It's obsessed with kind of like a film noir crime story that kind of eventually turns into this very surrealistic dream like atmosphere. And I didn't know what they were going to kind of pull out with this one. And I'll say this, their new film, if I were to describe it front to back, might sound confusing. And if you try to even search it on Google right now, one of the top responses you get is wrong. So just kind of enter at your own risk. But essentially, it's an anthology film. There's a wraparound segment and there's connective tissues amongst the stories, but it's basically just this canvas where Gon can present a series of different stories, each one focused on a different period in film history and Chinese history. Everything's in color, but you get a segment dedicated to silent film. You have a heavy film noir story that it could be like Dark City's Cousin. There's one that looks like the best crime film that Beat Takeshi never made. And there's a showstopper towards the end where it's him basically doing a riff on Before Sunrise, only it's done all in one take.
I remember you telling me about this, and I was so intrigued. I just haven't had a chance to check it out.
It's still kind of playing around Los Angeles. I'm honestly waiting for it to hit streaming. I don't buy everything, but I would certainly pick this one up. The soundtrack's by M83, and
Whoa,
like,
that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, and go figure. Soundtrack's awesome. It's an art house film, and I think that people think that that's going to be pretentious or inaccessible. And there are surreal imagery here. Sure, some odd stuff happens from time to time, but for the most part, the stories themselves are straightforward. So it looks great, it sounds great, and I can't wait to kind of dive back in. Again, critics like it, but I'm just not sure how much like a film like this hits a mass audience. I'm a huge fan, so I hope more people pick it up.
My first one is a cheat. I know we're only just starting and I'm already cheating, but it's tough not to cheat when it comes to one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh.
Oh,
You know, he likes to do his own thing. And in 2025, he had two releases that somehow flew under the radar with general audiences that I have to call out: Presence and Black Bag. Now, Presence is a super low budget ghost story set in one location dealing with family trauma told from the ghost POV. I really liked it. I love the inventiveness used to tell the story. It might not be for everyone, but I think it's still worth checking out. It's always fun to see Soderbergh play with genres. Now, Black Bag is on another level, and I'm completely surprised this somehow didn't get any love during award season. It's a stellar cast led by Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett, who play married spies at MI5. The story itself takes twists and turns through the spy world, focusing on a small group within the agency. The script, dialogue, performances, blocking, editing, it's all superb. Critics loved it at the time. I just don't know why it's so silent right now. And the movie is a lot smaller than you might think. I feel like it could be adapted into a stage play. It's also a lot sexier than you think, exploring what it takes to keep a relationship going while working as spies. Fassbender and Blanchett sell the hell out of it. And if you only watch one of the films I talk about today, I would say make it this one.
Oh, really? Going all
Yeah,
in on Black Bag?
I loved it. It's one of my favorite films of the year. Have you seen it?
I didn't see that or Presence, and I'm a huge fan of his. Just there's some, I think when there's a really established director, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll make sure I'll circle back on those. But then it
Yeah,
might be a long time. But I wanted to check them both out.
I highly recommend them. I think you'll like them both.
The Black Bag, the reviews were really good. Also, I'm willing to give the horror fans could be a little strange when it comes to that thing. Is it scary or is it just a supernatural story?
It's a supernatural story.
Okay.
I would say it's a ghost story, not a horror
Okay.
film, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, and also the fact that he'd come back with two movies that could they're total polar opposites. That's awesome.
Exactly. And apparently he made another film called The Christophers. There's a trailer for it releasing in 2026. I know it's on Letterboxd as 2025, and I've seen some people have logged it. So I don't know if it maybe played festivals. But again, for Soderbergh to come out and make 3 films in one year, I wouldn't put it past him to do that, but it also gets me excited because I'm a huge fan of his. So
It's only accessible to people named Christopher. I'm not sure how he mastered that tech yet, but
again, I wouldn't even put that past him.
well, for my second one, I'm leaping from high budget Chinese art film into the Chinese gutters with the nasty as hell film, The Sixth Robber. And I'm not just spotlighting a film, I'm spotlighting a streaming service. And I apologize, and I should have actually started with this. I apologize in advance for any pronunciations that I mess up throughout this episode. I'm infamous with that. But the way you spell the streaming service is IQIYI. I believe that's Ichii. So apologies if I'm not saying that, but if you go on there, essentially it's a streaming service centered on Asian releases. You have access to a ton of cool stuff that's not streaming anywhere else. So Blade of Fury, the Eye for an Eye series, Fight Against Evil films, all really good. Check it out. But my favorite director to kind of come out of this Chinese direct-to-video, like direct-to-streaming pipeline is Chris Hui. And they made a movie called Blind War. They made a movie called King of Snipers. Huge recommendations for them, but those weren't 2025. His 2025 entry was The Sixth Robber, and it is a throwback to nasty Hong Kong heist movies from like the 80s and 90s. And it's awesome. It's funny with China. Look, we deal with we have the MPAA. It's not like we don't have forms of censorship or forms of kind of like impacting films over here. But Chinese censorship definitely influenced how Hong Kong cinema kind of comes out in the year 2025, 2026. And it's funny to me, this film is willing to stay so much. We are kind of following a villainous character around. And there's even more villainous characters around them. So it's kind of like, you're not quite sure where they're coming from and just like how much sympathy you should have for them. This was meaner than I expected. It's meaner than other releases. And I'm not sure if just maybe Chris Hui has a little bit more sway in the industry, or if it's set in the 90s. So did maybe changing the time period maybe make them a little bit more lax? I'm not sure, but this was a pleasant surprise. And I also wanted to call out Yoon Bio, the classic Hong Kong action actor, gets a really meaty supporting role, and he also gets to kick some ass too. So if you're into like 80s, 90s Hong Kong crime cinema, big thumbs up, and track down his other stuff as well.
Oh, that sounds so cool. I knew you'd get us the good like deep dives. I'm so excited to check all the films. Okay, my next one is a movie called Good Fortune. Why is no one talking about this movie? This is one of my favorite surprises of the year. The IMDb plot is a well-meaning but rather inept angel named Gabriel meddles in the lives of a struggling gig worker and a wealthy venture capitalist. It's written and directed by Aziz Ansari, and it's such a good exploration of the wealth disparity between those living in Los Angeles. Ansari plays the gig worker, Seth Rogen is the venture capitalist, and the two standout performances for me are Keke Palmer and obviously Keanu Reeves as the angel Gabriel. Watch the movie for the two of them, if not for the rest of it. Keke Palmer is awesome, and this film solidified me as a fan. I legitimately laughed out loud a few times, but it's also heartbreakingly real in all the best ways for a small film like this. Now, here's the caveat. It could be a tough watch for some. There are a lot of people who are really struggling with the day-to-day of life, and the film doesn't shy away from that. But it has a lot of heart, which you don't find in many movies nowadays, and I cannot recommend this higher.
You know, it's funny. This one did kind of come and go. I didn't hear a lot of stuff about it. So it now is it? It seemed like a dramedy. Does it?
Yeah.
Is it funny? Did you find it funny? Is it more of kind of like soft laughs? Like where
No,
would you put
I
this?
legitimately laughed out loud a few
Okay.
times. Again, it ended up being such a fun surprise. I was not expecting much from it. And like you said, because it was going under the radar, but my wife and I were looking for something to watch. We put it on and we loved it. I am worried though, in terms of our picks, that mine are like super mainstream.
No, but that's it's a varied list. I worry I sound like a douchebag, so that evens out. Also, get ready for the most
Oh, the guy, the pretentious guy,
you
finding
got.
the streaming service in Bulgaria.
You don't even you don't even know the one coming up. You're gonna think I'm joking with you with one of the ones coming up, but that's yeah. I'm excited. I'm
All right,
excited.
yeah. I mean, it's your
Yeah.
turn. Let's do it.
Oh, no, I'm saving that one for last.
Oh, snap. Can't wait.
Okay. Well, another one I was really looking forward to is it's streaming on Shudder currently, and it's the filmmaking team of Helene Kate and Bruno Ferzani. They're a husband and wife directing team from Belgium, and they remind me a lot of Quentin Tarantino. They'll take genre films, kind of stuff them into a blender, and then serve them back to you with their own like twist on it. I'd say whereas Tarantino's films are very warm, theirs can come off a little colder at times, but like once you adapt their style, I think they're awesome. They're very like texture based, you know, just in like they're chock full of sex and violence, but just how it's presented is artful. So they're a genre film that you could also like play in a museum, and like they strike this really interesting balance. Their first two films were centered around horror. Their third film was centered around like Eurocrime, like 70s Eurocrime. And their latest one, Reflection in a Dead Diamond, is obsessed with Bond films, spy films, and Diabolik,
Diabolique.
like the pulp villain. And Andreas, I'm not sure if we've talked about it here on the podcast, but we're big Bond fans.
Yeah.
And the idea of them tackling Bond material, I was like salivating. I mean, I can't wait to see them kind of dive into this. And this might be their best movie.
I'm so excited. Once you told me about this film, but the thing is, I wanted to watch Let the Corpses Stand first. I wanted to make sure I got their style and understood it before jumping into this one. But I'm super excited for this.
And kind of the less you know, the better. But it's basically you're following a spy played by Fabio Testi, and they're retired and they live at a hotel. And there's things happening in the present that reminds them of old cases in the past. And so it's jumping around in time. It's kind of stream of consciousness. I think Testi's like a great actor, like by themselves, but also they're kind of a dead ringer for Sean Connery. So that just also works with the Bond connection as well. And
Amazing.
I don't
Amazing.
want to say like check their stuff out. And I think Andres, I think you've got the right idea. I think to appreciate, you kind of have to get on their wavelength. So maybe watch one of their other things first. I was so thrilled this delivered.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, based on how you were describing it, I knew I had to sort of understand their style before it so I could appreciate it. Okay. Sentimental Value
Oh,
is up for Best Picture, Best International Film, and many acting awards at the Academy Awards. So it's not a B-side, it's not offbeat, it's not fully overlooked. But I'm giving it a shout out since I'm a huge fan of foreign dramas, and this wasn't even on my radar until the Producers Guild named it as one of their nominees. And look, as a member of the Guild, I make sure to watch all the nominees before voting. If a film can go from not being on my radar to now one of the best films I've seen this year, I'm going to give it a shout out. It's a beautiful and harrowing portrait of family strife and trauma explored through art and filmmaking. It weaves a delicate balance of family ties to a place and to your role in what your family is. It's directed by Joachim Trier with phenomenal performances by Stellan Skarsgård, Renata Rensve, Inga Itzdotter Lilias, and forgive me for any mispronunciations, and also Elle Fanning. To me, the best films are the ones you don't see coming, and this one blew me away.
I've heard amazing things. I have not caught it yet. That's one of the ones I need to catch up on.
Yeah, and I'm so excited because it's already been announced to be part of the Criterion Collection, and I'm absolutely picking that
Oh,
up.
I didn't know that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. All right. Well, on that, it's funny you picked that one because, on the wavelength of, a family in crisis and turmoil and kind of like up for like some really big acting awards. I'm going to shout out Paul W.S. Anderson's In the Lost Lands with Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista, which, again, I'm an Anderson defender. I will go hard in the paint for them. I wear that on my sleeve. I am there for them. And I was looking forward to this. I had a feeling it was going to bomb. It totally bombed. And I was like, okay. But look, guys, I don't know. A lot of people are sleeping on this one. I think it's good. It's basically Jovovich, Dave Bautista. It's based on a George R. Martin short story, and actually, it feels a lot like a that doesn't get lost in translation. They deliver that to you, and the plot is a witch and a cowboy are hunting a werewolf in a post-apocalyptic hellscape, and they're fighting off religious zealots and mutants, and it's awesome. And if that's what you want, that is what it gives you. And that's kind of my frustration with this getting such low marks. I feel like you need to meet a movie halfway. This movie is gonna it delivers everything I just described to you there. And it's digital, it's a digital world, but there's a ton of fans of Event Horizon and the look of that film and the feel of that film. And a lot of that's practical, and I get that. And Event Horizon, awesome flick. Here though, even with digital, Anderson has an eye, and I like this world that he creates. So it's like I think the mood's correct. I think it's got a good visual look. The soundtracks by Paul Haslinger from Tangerine Dream. So
Ooh,
that rips. And
yeah.
I just feel like people dismiss pulp at times, but I'm all for good pulp. And the other thing is, if Game of Thrones is what? Prestige television, giant budget, critical reviews, great cast or whatever, soap opera things are still happening there. It's still a show filled with sex and violence and like plot twists that can be like outlandish and that type of thing. And I feel like there it's rewarded, here it's derided, but I think this is a fine film. So again, if you get off the high horse, this isn't an art house thing. Have some fun. Watch a cowboy and a witch fighting together. In the Lost Lands. I hope this gets a second look down the line.
That's great. Primitive War.
Oh,
It's the Vietnam War with dinosaurs. What more do I need to say? Is it a perfect film? No. Is it one of the best action films ever made? No. Is it the same caliber as Jurassic Park? No. Could it have been shorter? Yes. Do the VFX for the dinosaurs look really, really cool? Yes. Does it have a platoon of American soldiers with some not very hidden Australian accents creeping in, using machine guns to fight and blow away carnivorous dinos in the heat of Cold War politics? Yes. And if you're going to watch this film, that's what you want. It's directed by Luke Spark and adapted from the book of the same name by Ethan Pettis or Pettis, forgive the pronunciation. And also, Luke Spark was the producer, director, editor, and production designer. He wore a lot of hats. I have to celebrate something like that.
how can you not love that?
Yeah. Again, we know how difficult it is to even do one of those roles, let alone 4 or 5 of them. It's an indie film. I just love supporting indie films that go for it, and this certainly does. It could be slow. It could be shorter. There's definitely some scenes that drag on a little bit, but for the most part, I had a really fun time watching it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm like, it's over 2 hours.
Yeah, it
Wow.
it needs to be shorter. I'll say that, but it's still fun to watch.
That's actually a really good segue into my. Well, first off, before we get there, I will say, okay, in the Lost Lands, Primitive War, double feature, grab yourself a 6-pack, have a good time. That sounds good to me. So, speaking of running lengths, it's actually because I was thinking, what's my intro for this one? My final one is very not commercial, and it's off the beaten track. It's indie, it's underground, whatever you want to call it. It's Louise Ward's film series project. I'm not sure what box to put it in, but the film is Castration Movie. It's an anthology, and there's 2 parts that came out in 2025. It's going to end up being a 5-part series, I believe. And it's essentially these stories following like various trans characters and the people in their lives. And right now the stories don't connect, but I think over time they're eventually going to converge as it goes on. But I guess we'll see. But speaking of long running times, the first part is 4.5 hours, and the second one is 5 hours long. So it is they are not remotely concerned with trying to fit into a box. Here's what Weird had to say about their films, or I guess the one giant film. The film exists solely as an artistic exercise and will not be financially exploited beyond its cost of production. We thank everyone who supports our project for their continued patronage in our making of weird and transgressive art. And they said they wanted to deliver a trans story by us, for us, and about us. And they star in one of the segments. They're not in everything, but they're heavily featured. And the threads you're following so far is kind of the making of an incel. One of them is a trans sex worker and kind of like just their daily life. And one of them is a trans woman who lives in a cult. I'm not sure if this sounds daunting. It's very funny. Like sometimes there's a heavy David Lynch influence on him in that sometimes a scene will be funny and kind of turn menacing and then back to funny again. It's got a real kind of like lived in experience. Material is just allowed to just go. It's shot in a digital camera. It's hitting the streets. You've got conversations that feel real that will eventually drift into something profound or something funny and then kind of drift back out again. It's not for everybody. I get that. And between the look of it, the how long it is, it's very frank with like sexual matters and like there's nudity, kind of like nonchalant with that. I get this isn't for everybody, but like I'm a cis white middle-aged dude and I really enjoyed this. And I'm looking for more I'm looking forward to the entire anthology to be done. If you're at all interested, right now it's on the Letterbox Video Store, or you could go to Gumroad where I think you can name your own price and you can pay for it. There's ways to find a project as unconventional as this, and it almost sounds like a parody of indie film, but I really think that a lot of tender love and care was put into this odd duck of a film, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. I mean, with that, obviously, I would think that running time would give anyone pause. So it's good to hear that you were entertained by it. And it's good to see that, people are able to just create art because they want to create it.
That's
and I
it.
love,
yeah.
Sorry, no, please go ahead.
No, that's it. It's this story was bursting out of Ward, and they wanted just to hit the streets, and it's them and their friends or whatever. And I'll say this: look, is every single minute of 9.5 hours totally engaging? No, I'm not going to get up here and lie about that. But most of it is, and for over 9 hours, that's saying something. And I'll say the second part about the trans woman in the cult, it takes a minute for me to get off the ground. Once I'm an hour in, I didn't want to turn it off at that point. And for a 5-hour movie, that's saying something. I think it's got interesting things to say about just, trans life in 2025, 2026. I think people are messy and they're ugly and it's not virtue signaling anything, and they're allowed to be just, it moves at the speed of life. And I like stuff that can kind of capture that. And again, it is funny in a lot of parts too. So on the one hand, I acknowledge it's daunting. There's things, the Venn diagram of wanting to get into this, I understand might be smaller than some of the other films that we've covered today. But I also don't think it's as challenging as maybe I'm making it sound. I think it's more accessible. If you want to watch a dramedy about these people's lives, I think that comes across. And also, you're going to know in the first 10 minutes if this is for you or not. It's not going to trick you. So if you're kind of on its wavelength, you're probably going to enjoy it. If you're like, I really cannot get into this, then okay, then that's fine. And I get that.
Nice. I'm glad you're championing that. Okay, my last pick is a movie I don't think anyone's seen. It's called Sinners. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
A little film called Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
Yeah. Okay, the last film I want to highlight is called Lurker. It's a small indie psychological thriller about a young guy in his 20s who sort of weasels his way into the entourage of an up-and-coming music star. The guy's obsessed with the star and things get a little creepy. It really plays on the power dynamics of the people who you feel might have the power and then those you need to have around you and the power they have to support you. I don't want to say too much more about the plot because I am thinking there's a chance we might add it as a potential episode at some point. Okay. It was really good and very unexpected. It's written and directed by Alex Russell and it stars Archie Madekwe, forgive the pronunciation, as the pop artist. But the standout performance is definitely Theodore Pellerin, who plays the obsessed fan. I love indie films, so this is right up my alley. And it's the kind of film that's it's full of just an ever-present tension throughout, making you super uncomfortable. Like you just know something bad is going to happen.
Well, that's what you're the only person I read strong reviews. You're the first person that I've met face to face that has seen it at all, let alone enjoyed it. And I want to ask you questions, but I feel like this is one where you don't want to know, right?
I went in completely blind, not knowing anything. I saw it. I saw a brief description and I was like, you know what, let me just check it out. It's a 90-minute movie. And I love that. I love those surprises when you just want something quick to watch, have no idea what it is. It's on Mubi, and Mubi obviously champions independent film. So, and it's funny because with you wanting to ask questions, I'm curious to ask you questions about it. So whether we do cover it or not, let me know when you see it and we'll definitely talk about it.
No, sounds good. I was on my list, but it'll now move up the list now that you enjoyed it. So
awesome. Well, I'm really glad we did this.
No, absolutely. Hey, it was a strong year, and to be able to kind of point some stuff out, that's great. And also, you gave me a few things to add to mine, and no, that's awesome. And hopefully, the viewers at home feel the same way.
And obviously, we'll talk more about films that we come across that we feel other people should enjoy. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Short Ends. If you enjoyed what you heard, please give us a like, subscribe, or a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to reach out, say hi or send us a note on maybe a film you're looking forward to in 2026 or any hidden gems from 2025 you want us to check out, email us at realdemers@gmail.com. Thanks again and be safe.
Thanks, everybody.